Okay, so I'm Medical Insurance Michael. I'm appointed representative of WPA, and WPA are not-for-profit health insurance. So I've just put this slide together. So who is Medical Insurance Michael? So I thought I'd do a bit of background on myself. So there's me there, actually in Wales there. And there's the full admin team or squad. So we've got Donna there, and we've got Olivia and Toby, and they help me to make sure that I've got all my customers looked after and everybody's doing what they should be doing. And so I went to a foreign meeting, so a different network, but about 7 years ago, and I met somebody from WPA. I'd not heard of WPA before. Well, the reason for that is WPA not-for-profit and don't have a massive budget for advertising. They collect premiums in and put as much back for members. And I thought, oh, that's, and they do private medical, they do cash plans, and they do dental plans. I said, right, I'm going to stop you there because I need a dental plan. I had a private dentist at the time, still do, and I needed a dental plan, signed up pretty much straight away. And then from there, as you can see from the picture there with the family, I thought, do you know what, it'd be better getting them on cover, really. So I put all them on cover, got serious about it, got private medical, and then I got an opportunity to get a franchise after a few years, and then decided to take that opportunity. So I've got a franchise area from where I live, and so I know it quite well. But it also means that people can refer to me anywhere in the country, but I look after that area and I go networking face to face in that area. Getting that diagnosis quickly, I thought I'd put that on there. So ultimately, getting the private medical plan in place means that you can get diagnosed. When something's not right with someone, you talk to them and you say, do you know what? And they say, well, I'm finding out what it is. And it's always that wanting that diagnosis. And that's the key, really, is getting that diagnosis. Unfortunately, I've got a family member of mine who didn't get the correct diagnosis. And that was just over 10 years ago now. And as a result of that, by the time they did get the correct diagnosis, unfortunately, it was too late. So part of my reason why is to ensure that that doesn't happen to other people that I know, and to help people get that diagnosis, because it's something that you think about every single day of your life afterwards. So yeah, it's been just over 10 years now. And so look at this. So the next one I put together is, what is health insurance? So I've got that there. So you've got the private medical. So that's for someone who gets so that's something that will meet all the costs of private medical treatment. That's in a private facility. That's getting the diagnosis. That's seeing the specialists, seeing the consultants. We've got health cash plans. Now, cash plans is something to think about. You don't actually have to be ill to use a cash plan. So cash plans are those paying for those more everyday expenses, like your dental, your optical, your physio, those kind of things. With private medical, with the first one, let me get the little highlighter pen laser pointer. So this one, it's age rated. So it's age rated firstly, and then a little to do with where you are in the country. So there's no price on that, but that's one where we'd have a conversation. The cash plans start at around, so it's $11.40 per month. That's for a personal one. For corporate, it's a little bit lower. And it just depends on the level that somebody chooses. So dental plans where I started, happy days there. And yeah, I couldn't believe it. So when I saw the price, I was like, well, that's what. So I had a dental plan years ago, and it was around about £15 a month, 75% reimbursement. And that worked for me quite nicely. And then what happened is it went along, the premium went up, but the reimbursement went down as well. So by the time I finished, it just wasn't worth it. So with WPA, it starts at that 11, but it's around about 15, 16 for private, and it's 75% reimbursement. And I said, well, that's brilliant. That's right back where I started. That's exactly what I need. And it's still pretty much like that now, which is pretty good. Why have health insurance? So it's a good question, that, because here in the UK, we've got NHS, and a lot of people like myself, I love the NHS. They do an absolutely cracking job. I think you cut through some of the people that work on the front line, well, pretty much all of them, and they are totally dedicated to the NHS, like stick a rock and say NHS run. Unfortunately, it's absolutely swamped. It says there 6.5 million in 2022. Well, that's increased since it's now more like about 7.2 for the waiting list. There's also, over 300,000 waiting for treatment. So that's getting onto the waiting list. That's once you've seen a doctor as well. So remote 24/7 GP has been a godsend for me. So I've needed to speak to someone, and I've booked in the remote 24/7 GP through the app, booked it in for when the kids have gone to bed. It's been absolutely fantastic because you can speak to somebody, you can either have a phone or video, man or woman. That call can be as long as it needs to be. Then once you've had that conversation, you've got a PDF in your email, and that is the start of your treatment pathway. So it might be you need to see a specialist, you might need to see a consultant. That's where you're going to go, and you're going to book that in, and that's the start of your claim as well with WPA. Clearing the backlog. So I mean, this was 2021. There's nowhere near close to doing that still, even now. We've got the GP referral. So the target for GP referral for cancer, that's below target as well at the minute as well, unfortunately. And it's just a difficult situation because they've been inundated, haven't they, with their COVID patients, and they're just absolutely stuck. I mean, they were pretty busy before, weren't they, really? Let's have a look at this. So this is a graph here that shows about timescales for referral. This is to do with cancer again. With the cancer side of things, the British Medical Association produce these and put these out there. So here's one example how they're failing to meet those targets. When it's the difference with, some people say, well, you know what, if I wait, I can use the NHS. Time is absolutely critical when it comes to cancer diagnosis and cancer treatment, where that is what is causing the biggest issue. So getting that diagnosis fast is what's going to be more preventative than ever. And the treatment, like, I mean, there's a few of us in the room mentioned we'd give to cancer research. The treatments are advancing all the time. The new treatments available for cancer, the really new ones, the really advanced ones, they're really expensive. And that's what goes to private medical first. And if you're NHS, they have a cap, which means that in some areas, you might not be able to get that cancer treatment that could be effective. And that's where private medical would kick in and say, do you know what, yeah, you could have that. So that's something to bear in mind as well. Let's look on this one. It's quite snazzy, this, isn't it? Look at this for these coming up. So we've got common cause. So this is looking at companies and looking at staff absenteeism. And what we've got on there is we've got the minor illnesses, these are colds and flus. Through to, so musculoskeletal, that is your back problem. A lot of people suffered with back injuries due to lockdown because they moved home to do the work, but they didn't have adequate seating and desk. So there's been a bit of a rise on them in the last few years. And then stress is a big factor in mental illness. That's talked about this somebody the other day about how we've got a lot of information and we dip in and out of work and we dip in and out of his personal life and the crossover. And what tends to happen is that you could sit there, perhaps watching a film, watching your telly or whatever you're playing, but you're looking at your work as well. So it's good to sort of switch off and take a bit of time out for yourself as well. We mentioned that in the winning the millions. You'd take some time off, you'd go on holiday. Something to consider there. So there's long-term absences. As you can see there, mental health is a big, and that's been recognised with private medical as well. And a lot of the private medical companies, WPA included, have included now a higher level of mental health benefit for members. So we've got there some stats: average sick days per person. The other one as well, and how much it costs. You got, sorry? 1 minute. Yeah. And then we've got, in addition to replace somebody, is well over 30,000 to replace somebody in a business as well. So it's important to get that value in place, and something like this can help retain employees. I'm putting the Trustpilot there so you can see the stars. We're absolutely proud as anything with that with WPA. So we're the highest rated health insurance on the market for the UK, and that's really important to us. Here's a testimonial for one of my customers, just saying how they've had private medical in the past, but now moving to WPA, they've found how it has actually worked for them, and that's made a big difference to their life and their family. We had a little bit of a quiz here, but I'll just run through these. Cataract surgery, 2,300. You know, throw some questions, throw some answers out there if you want to. This is like, say if you have like find a little lesion, find like a little perhaps skin cancer spot, something like that, to have that removed. And then these are pacemakers that you can have. We call these prosthesis. So that's like a hip replacement there, or a joint replacement, and that's nearly 15,000. Knees the same, so knees about 50. And a lot of these are shielded from at least prices at NHS because it's all covered, isn't it? You know, you never go in and say, oh, how much is that going to be? You don't need to. And this is a big one here. So this one can like bring you back to life. Absolutely fantastic. Absolutely amazing what it can do. Just touch on the benevolent fund. So there's me and Alison there on the bikes, and there's Dragon Ball Sport. So try and get that into state schools. So if you know any state schools, put us in touch, WPA, and we'll try and help those schools. And then this is how you can help me. So £100 for referral. People worried about NHS waiting lists. People want direct contact with a WPA representative like myself. Dental optical costs. Worried about claiming, worried about the premiums afterwards. So those are the key ones. Okay, so that's me. Medical insurance, Michael. Ask people when's the best time to invest in yourself. Thank you for listening.